Hey folks, and welcome to another TMF live stream, the September 2018 one. Can't remember how many of these I've done now, probably 5 or 6, but hopefully starting to get the hang of the technology. I don't know, but as usual, maybe to start with, you can just let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Last time I forgot to turn the mic on, not the first time I've done that. This time got a big sticker, so I've definitely turned the mic on. I can see some bars flicking about. Can you see and hear me okay? Let me know that, that would be good. And we can crack on. So, first things first, I must just give a quick shout out to Hannah Forrest and her dad Scott, who are viewers to the channel. Great to have you guys along, and I said I'll give you a shout out, so hello to you. And before we get cracking on some questions and stuff as well, maybe you can let me know, because this always amuses me and it always blows my mind how many people I can actually reach and whereabouts you are on the planet. So let me know if you're watching and where you're from. That would be great. Right, while you're doing that, I'm just going to look at a couple of comments to make sure you can actually see and hear me okay. Rutger, quality of sound and video, good. Thank you, Rutger. Excellent. I can always rely on you to give me good feedback. Excellent. Great, and some questions coming in as well. Loud and clear says Sean, brilliant. Fine says Raymond, excellent. Ray D is in Manchester. Hello, Manchester. Hello, Gerard's Cross. Robin's there. Somerset, Howie, Ealing, James, Switzerland. Oh, that's further so far. Belgium, Wendover. Can we build Chigwell? I think Switzerland, Sweden. Brilliant. Okay, I'm looking for the longest one. Oh, Canada. Sean was in Canada. Blimey, I can see lots of people joining now. That's fantastic. I've already got nearly 300 people watching apparently, so that's absolutely amazing. So let me know if anyone can beat Canada. Oh, we've got India, Iran. My goodness me, everywhere. Oh, Sydney, there we go. Baron's in Sydney. So thank you, Baron, for staying up. Whatever time of day is it in Sydney? I don't know. I really should get a world clock so I can check it out. Anyway, brilliant. So sounds like you can hear me all right, so that's great. So just to give you a quick update on what's going on this live stream then, obviously hoping for lots of questions, and already a few are coming through. Always difficult to actually pick those up on the live chat that comes through, because it's hard to read that while I'm looking at the camera, but I will endeavour to do that. I've also got some questions that were left over from last time. I've written them on this piece of paper, so I'll pick some of those up to start with. So that'll be good, and also I've got a few that as I picked up from last time. I'll mop those up at the end. If you ask a question on the live chat and I don't manage to get to it, as does happen from time to time, I apologise, and maybe, don't worry, leave the question in there, and what will happen is I'll see the live chat afterwards on the recorded version of the video, and I'll pick them up then, and I'll make sure I've copied them in for next month. So hopefully that makes sense. So I was trying to read something there while I was talking. It just shows how difficult it is. Anyway, okay, so first off, actually, before we get into questions, and we're going to do Q&A as usual, and then I've got some parish notices about things that are coming up on the channel at the end of the broadcast, which will be in about half an hour or so's time. I usually allocate about half an hour. If there's loads going on, then maybe we'll stay on a bit longer. We'll see how we go. But I've got a couple of questions for you that I'll be very interested if you could answer again in the live chat. And if I don't pick the answers up during this broadcast, I will pick them up in the recorded version as I review the questions I missed. So first question is, and it's a bit of a strange one. This is the whole Hey Kids debate. I've done a little bit of an experiment in the last couple of videos. I've started videos without saying hey kids. I've said hi folks, and I just to see if anybody noticed, really. One or two people did. I got a couple of comments from people that did, and they said they didn't like it. They wanted hey kids back. I personally, I'm not wedded to hey kids. Now that I actually chose that. It's just a little catchphrase. I chose that, or I stole it from somebody called Old Man Triple, who is now a subscriber of mine. And when I said to him about stealing his catchphrase, he said I was welcome to it, and I can see now why, because I come in for an awful lot of flack by saying hi kids at the start of every video. So I've been thinking about dropping it for a while. I don't want to bow to the trolls, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a big difference to me. I'm quite happy with hey folks. So let me know what you think. I'm asking you guys because as you're on the live stream, you guys are my kind of serious viewers, if you like. So I value your opinion. So let me know if you think I should forget what the trolls say and I should stick with hey kids, or whether I should go with hey folks and grow up a bit. Anyway, so that's the first question I got for you. So interested if you could answer that. If you're watching on the recorded version, stick it in the comments below. If you're watching on the live stream, stick it in the live chat. I'll have a look at it at the end if I can't see it now. And then the other question was, you probably, if you're a BMW GS fan, as I am, you may well know if you watch other of my videos that I ride a BMW GS quite a lot, that the new 1250 GS finally broke cover officially yesterday. There was the world media launch of it. I've seen a few videos online, and in fact there was some stuff in today's MCN, there we go. I don't know if you've seen or read that at all. All reports are that it's pretty good. But we can go into more detail about what I think of what I've read so far about that. But to be interested as well, before I tell you what I think, just to hear if you're a strong GS fan, what do you think of the new bike and the changes? And be interested to see that. All right, let's crack on and just get some of these questions done. Let me just have a look at some of the chats that are coming in. So Chris, use whatever you want for intros, kids, folks, whatever. Thank you. Nearly retired. Good day from Australia. Good to see you. Good, thank you. Hello. You didn't get an invite. No, I didn't. I can't remember. I saw that. No, unfortunately, and this does surprise me a little bit. As one, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I'm a relatively major UK motorcycle YouTuber. In terms of views, one of the biggest, in fact, except for our friend RJ. So it does surprise me that BMW don't talk to me at all. I mean, they just do not talk to me. The only contact I have into BMW is my friends at Barnstormer, the local dealer at Maidenhead, where I bought my bike, but that's not any sort of official link in. I have written to BMW before asking if I can get onto press fleets and stuff like that, but never get a reply. So there we go. Obviously they have a slightly different approach to these things, but that's not a gripe. I mean, I love BMW bikes, as you know, but it just find it a bit odd. It's funny how the different manufacturers approach social media and marketing via it. You know, some are very pro it, and you can guess who those ones are, and some just aren't. It's weird. It seems to be, generally speaking, it's the Japanese ones that aren't very pro it. Kawasaki never respond to me. I've written to them several times. But there we go. There we go. Let's not dwell on that anymore. I don't want to get onto a big downer on who won't talk to me before we start. Right, let's have a look at a few more of these questions coming in. They whip by very quickly, so I'm going to have a quick look. So, buy a proper bike, says CJG61. Thank you. Question. I live in Watford. What's the best roads or route? Where do you normally go? I have a triple RS. Sorry, that whipped off the top of the screen before I saw her ask that. Very good question. And something I've been out riding, I've been out today actually on the little Husqvarna 701 Supermoto that I've currently got in the garage and borrowing from Husqvarna, obviously one of the manufacturers that are quite keen to lend me bikes. I've been out riding that today. Fantastic little bike. I'm making some videos, they'll be going up soon. But I've been riding around the lanes around here on it, and it's been an absolute hoot. But as I was riding around, it did not escape my notice how much traffic there is here in the southeast. So just as I was getting a bit of a lick on and enjoying myself through some twisties, you come up against usually a van. I've met the dreaded white van a few times, or cars going really slowly in 60 mile an hour sections of road, and basically it just takes all the joy out of it. So that's a bit of a rant to sort of answer your question and say, well, actually around here in the southeast, I sort of think you can forget it. There are one or two rides if you go right down south, and maybe along the sort of Sussex coast. There's a few roads down there that are probably worth riding. But generally speaking, around this area where we are, you mentioned you were in Watford. I'm not very far away from you, probably only 15, 20 miles away. There's not really much around here. The best roads I can get to from where I live here in Great Missenden are up sort of beyond Aylesbury, A413, that sort of thing, or out towards Buckingham Way. They're quite nice roads, but I mean, they're not spectacular. This is one of the things that my recent touring has spoilt me for. I now know what a good motorcycling road is, and there aren't any around here, I'm afraid. So that's that's a bit of a negative broadcast today, isn't it? So yeah. So no, I don't think there are any decent roads around here. If you want to go on a decent road, then you got to ride a bit of distance and get the hell out of the southeast, and do it either very early in the morning or in the summer later in the day, when there's less traffic around. That's the scourge of the southeast. Anyway, again, I find myself having a bit of a rant again. Right, let's have a look down, see some more questions. Hemel is a nightmare, and that's just the road, says Darren Ashby. Yeah, well, the old magic roundabout there, isn't it? There's for those of you that don't know, in Hemel Hempstead, they've got one of those roundabouts of roundabouts. So if you're not a local, it can be a bit of a nightmare trying to work out a path through. And every time I go round, I sort of know where I'm going, so I have a path worked out, but I tend to do a different path through whenever I go. There's also a similar one in the middle of High Wycombe, a roundabout of roundabouts. Completely confusing for non-locals, but there we go. What else have we got here? Paul Simpson, haha, wondered why you were called the Missenden Flyer, didn't realise it's a place. Yes, there you go. So Missenden is indeed a place, it's where I live, and the Flyer reference is because I'm a pilot, as you may have guessed if you've seen some of my recent videos. I posted a couple of videos back of me doing a bit of flying, just because I had a few requests to do that. Ian, rant on. Yeah, okay, thanks, Ian. Good to have you along again. I can always rely on Ian to join these what are they called? Not podcasts, live streams. That's the thing. I must catch up with the technology. What else we got? Northwest is terrible for traffic, says Dave. Well, that is true, Dave. It is, and the M6 in particular is one of my least favourite roads. That and the M25 kind of tie for my worst roads. God, we're getting on a real negative rant here. But The thing is, up there in the northeast, at least you've got access to other places. It's not that far. Depends where you are in the northeast, of course, but it's not that far to get to the Lake District, Yorkshire Dales and all that stuff. If you head a bit south, I'm assuming if you're right up in the northeast, or indeed if you're that far up, Scotland's on your doorstep. So I think you've got it better than us down the southeast. But anyway, let's not go into a pool of despair about where the bad roads are. Okay, what else have we got? Earl says, "Keep hey kids, once kid, always kid." Thank you, sir. Thank you for your message of support. Another vote for Northumberland. Yes, Northumberland is great up there. I've done. Have I done any bike riding up there? No. I've been through it, but I haven't done a specific tour. Maybe I should do. It is lovely up there. Oh, I did take the CRF up there once. I seem to remember doing Lindisfarne and the island there. I've forgotten what it's called now, but we go over the causeway. That was great riding. And there's some other great stuff around there. What else we got? Come live in the Beacons. Every road's superb, says Paul. Yeah, Brecon Beacons, can't beat that. Wales, I've said it before. Built for motorcyclists, isn't it? Fantastic place. All right, so, thank you, Rutger. The first, I can't remember what those things are called, top chat thing. Riding on the night, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I missed it. I'll have to catch that. I'll have to catch that next time, Rutger. But thanks you very much for your donation. Once again, I think I definitely owe you a pint. That'll be going straight in the old fuel tank so I can get some more videos done for you. So thank you for that. All right, let me just do a couple of the questions that I picked up from before. Then I'll come back to the live stream. So do keep coming in. Oh, just saw Bandit Man's here. Hello, Bandit Man. Always good to see you. Who else do I recognise? Chilton Turbo. Oh, hello. Oh, and thank you. Well done on the 90k, he says. The Chilton Turbo, he's just round the corner from me. Literally 200 yards over there. So great that you're watching. And did I see you the other day? I waved at you. I hope you recognised it was me. I may have been on the Supermoto. Anyway, questions from last time. This one, first one, Andrew McCurdy asks, looking at replacing my 2015 GSA with the new model, should I go ahead and buy the current 2018 GSA or wait for the rumoured new model that might make an appearance in 2019? Excellent question, Andrew. And I wouldn't take my advice for this or word for it, by the way. I'm just another punter like you, but I can certainly give you my opinion on this. So you said rumoured new model in 2019. I guess you're basing that on the fact that now the standard new GS is out. The GSA usually follows about a year later. So we're in September now, so we can expect by this time next year the GSA based on that bike will be announced, if not slightly before. So you may see it in the shops this time next year or early 2020. That'll be, my goodness me, where does time go? So in other words, you've got a bit of a wait for the new GSA is the first thing I'd say. And then the other thing is, if you've only got a 2015 GSA, that's not that old, is it? I mean, my bike's a 2014, but a 2015 model year. I think the 2015 GSA was the first of the new water-cooled versions, correct me if I'm wrong. So you've got the early GSA that's water-cooled, but nonetheless, that is still an absolutely fantastic bike. My view on these is, and this is exactly the same for the new bike, by the way, is that these improvements that manufacturers like BMW make to their bikes when they bring out new models are just incremental. Now, there's always a load of marketing hype around them, and in some ways, people like me add to that, I guess, when we review these bikes. But I always try and keep a bit of perspective on these things. I mean, when you bought your bike in 2015, that probably cost you anywhere between 15 and 20 grand, I imagine, if you spec it up at all, and most people do. Probably about 18 grand, I think, is the average for a GSA. That's a lot of money. Now, if you sold that now, or you traded it in against a new one, you'd probably only get 10, 11 thousand for that. If you traded it in, maybe less than that even. So that's a big old hit on the depreciation. If you sold it privately, you might get a bit more. But nonetheless, let's assume you got 12 grand for it. And then the new one, which is, I think I read, the basic bike is starts at 16,250. So the GSA is going to be more than that. So the basic GSA starts at, say, 17,000. By the time you spec that up, you're looking probably 21 grand for the bike. So suddenly you've got to find yourself another 11 grand for a motorcycle that's 4 years newer than the one that you've got. So just on a numbers game, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I do not think that the new bike, however good it is, and I've only read good reports about it, and I'm sure it's a lovely, lovely machine, and I can't wait to ride it myself if I can get hold of one. I'm sure it's great, but I cannot imagine it's worth you spending another 11 grand on. That's the price of almost another Kawasaki Z900 RS, isn't it? Put it in those terms. You could have one of those instead, as well as your GSA, if you like that sort of thing, which I certainly do. So my answer or my question to you would be, why would you want to replace it in the first place? Oh, thank you, Hartley. Another of those live chat things coming in. Thank you very much. That's for making Norway appeal to the wife. Oh, brilliant, Hartley. Good luck with your quest. I hope. I think the way to go there is to just book it up and go. Anyway. So yeah, my question to Andrew about his GS dilemma is, why do you want to sell it in the first place? I don't think the new bike's going to be that much better. And that's just, that's all right. And if you must have a new one, then I wouldn't wait around for the new one, because it'll only be very slightly, but no matter what all the magazines and reviews say, it'll be slightly better than the existing one. But now the new one's out there, the new basic bike, it's getting confusing. You'll probably get a really good deal on the existing GSA. If you buy a GSA now, or in the next 6 months, you're probably going to get really good deals on new ones. So if you must have a new one and spend all that money, then I would go for one now, not wait for the new one, which may be a while coming. And anyway, you might want to leave it a year after it's launched just to get any teething problems out. So anyway, long answer to your question there, Andrew. Yeah, I wouldn't wait. I'd just buy one now, because I don't think the wait's worth it. So that was that one. Okay, I'll come back to some more questions. Let me just tick that one off, make sure I've got that one done. Let me come back to the live stream, see what we've got. So, Big Bad Bikers, my GSF 1250 only cost $7,400 new in 2015. Exactly, this is the thing. Our prices have gone up ridiculously, haven't they, recently? I recently made a video, in fact it was yesterday, doing a 6-year update on my Street Triple R. I bought my Street Triple R actually just over 6 years ago now, and it cost me at the time, thank you Ian, very kind of you. That leaves my pain. Super chat, thank you very much. It does ease my pain, thank you Ian, that's great. Back to the Street Triple story. So I bought mine 6 years ago, £6,750 I think it cost me. If you buy a Street Triple R today, it costs you something like $10,250 6 years later. So, and if you buy the top of the range one, the RS, then you're looking at more than that. So that's gone up by more than 60% in 6 years. Unbelievable. Now I've looked at this before, talking about bike prices going up. It seems like they're going up into ridiculous levels. You can get a really nice car for the prices of a new GS now. When the analysis is done, it turns out that actually in real terms, thank you, Ken. Very kind of you. In fact, I think I've got a question from you coming up. I've seen your name somewhere else tonight. So when you look into the numbers, the manufacturers would have you believe that in real terms, bike prices haven't gone up that much. In fact, they say they've gone down in real terms. I don't believe it. Wages haven't gone up that much, have they? We've been in a bit of a recession. We're not in a recession now, but things haven't been great, have they, recently? So I don't know. Bikes just seem really expensive to me these days. Anyway, a little bit of a whinge there again. Right, what have we got coming up here? Hello from Seattle. Hello, Jay. Good to hear from you again. Always good to hear from you. Thank you, Barry. Very kind of you. Right, what else we got? China driving also. If you think BMW price in Europe is steep, try here in China, where their import duties set you back 30k for a GS. Unbelievable. That's amazing. 30 grand for a GS. Do they sell any in China at that rate? Only for rich people, I assume. G-Man's Bikes Bits, the new CRF 450L on your radar, mate. Maybe time to upgrade. Yeah, interesting you mentioned that. Oh, gosh, I've just noticed I've got 710 people watching this at the moment. That's just mind-blowing. The CRF 450L, that's it's a bike, again, that kind of snuck under the radar. Again, you may know if you're a regular viewer, and I'm assuming if you're watching this live, you possibly are. I'm a big fan of the Honda CRF. I have a 250L. I've had that for a number of years now. Love it. Great fun little bike. Is a little bit underpowered, though, and people in the CRF circles have been asking for something a bit more powerful for ages. And Honda have actually released in Japan, I think a couple of months ago, as I say, somewhat under the radar, to me at least, a CRF 450L. So 450cc engine, much more go. Road legal, so it's got mirrors, it's got lights, all the stuff you need. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I have been looking at a few reviews of that. It sounds great on the surface of it, but the service intervals are quite hairy. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but I think I read somewhere. They were some stupid, I think you have to do an oil change every 600 miles. It's... Basically, they've taken the CRF 450, I think it's the X, the proper hairy enduro bike, and made it into a dual sport or a bike that will go on the road as well. So you've still got quite a high maintenance engine regime. So that's what puts me off that a little bit. Pricing wise in Japan, I think it's quite competitive, quite a good price, a little bit more than the equivalent Yamaha. But when it comes here, I'm imagining it's going to be in the sort of 8.5-9 grand ballpark. Whether I'd want to pay that just for a bit more poke, I don't know. I was riding my CRF on Tuesday. In fact, that was the bike I rode up to Silverstone to pick up the Husqvarna, which is, as I say, the Husqvarna 701. That's a 700cc near as damn it. A supermoto. I ride my CRF a bit like a supermoto. I ride it on the road a lot. And going directly from one to the other, yes, the Husqvarna has way more power. But it's not that much more fun. And it's not that much more, it's, I was thinking, actually, my little CRF is a bit more comfortable, very similar riding experience. You can't pop wheelies on it if you're a wheelie king. Forget the CRF 250. I'm not a wheelie king, so it works for me. But, so anyway, again, a bit of a rambling answer there. But, excited to see the CRF 450. can't wait to have a go on one. Whether it's worth it with the hassle of the service intervals, I don't know, but let me have a ride on one before I make any huge conclusions. I'll probably change my mind. All right, let's go back to one more of my questions from last time, and then I'll come back to the live stream again. How are we doing on stream health? It says I've got an amber stream health here, which sounds better than red, but not as good as green. So let me know if it's sort of jumpy or whatever. Hello, Mr. Buddy. Hi from Ireland. Right, we'll come back to the live chat in a second. I love all this. It's great, isn't it? I love technology sometimes. Okay, next question from last time from Cindy and Steve Linder, I think that is. Good day, Mr. Flyer. Don't know, maybe you're Australians. I'm not sure. Can't remember, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. We have noticed that you've been riding with the Wunderlich seat. However, on the Arctic ride, you've gone back to the original. Why? Good question, Cindy and Steve, and I think I might have mentioned the reason why on the first video of that Arctic Circle series. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'll tell you why, in case because you obviously missed it. Basically, the Wunderlich seat I got, you may recall, it was very expensive. I didn't pay for it, actually. It was sent to me from Nippy Normans, who very kindly often supply me with kit to review, and it's a heated seat, and I wanted it because in the cold winter it's a bit nippy on the old butt, and this thing works brilliant as a heated seat. So last winter it was lovely, nice and toasty, really enjoyed it. But the downside when I went on the first long ride on it was it's not very comfortable. It's quite hard actually, which is odd because one of the selling features that Wunderlich have for that is that it's more comfortable than the standard seat. Well, I was going to say it might then. It's not. Well, at least not for my backside. I find the original BMW seat, I've got the lowered seat by the way on my Beamer, is perfectly comfortable, and it's much more comfortable than the Wunderlich seat. So for that Arctic trip, I thought, looking at the weather forecast at the time, I knew the weather was going to be quite good and hot. I don't need a heated seat. What I need is comfort. I'm going to have some long days in the saddle, so I want to go for some comfortable days. That trumped heated seat for me, even though I was going to the Arctic and thought, well, maybe a chance I need a heated seat. Turned out I didn't, and it was actually a masterstroke going for comfort with the little seat ventilator thing. I did a video on that again earlier this week. I've put like a netting, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's from coolcovers.com, a brilliant bit of kit, which just cools your backside down in hot weather. That on top of the BMW seat, super duper comfortable, and I'm kind of, in fact, I've swapped back to the Wunderlich seat this week, getting ready for the colder weather and winter, and I'm kind of, missing it in a way. I mean, again, in the winter, the heat will be better than the comfort, but when I go do any long rides, it'll be the original Beamer seat going back on. So I hope that answers your question, Cindy and Steve. Thanks very much for your question. Tick you off, so I don't answer that one again. Right, let's come back to the live stream. We'll just have a swig of water. Hang on a second. Oh, by the way, I've changed some settings on the camera. Now it's dark at this time of day here in Blighty. The last couple I've done, it's been obviously in the middle of summer, and it's been light at 8 o'clock. So I've been able to have the blinds open, and we've had natural light. It's been a bit better on the lighting front. I'm now back on fully artificial light, but I've changed to the camera. Its white balance setting is now in some sort of auto mode. And to me, at the picture I'm looking at, it looks like the colour's a bit better. Got a bit of a shiny head for my liking, but that comes with the hairstyle. But I think the colours are a bit better, aren't they? So anyway, hopefully that works for you as well. I'm not glowing orange. I haven't got so much of a Donald Trump look about me. Okay, so let's go down to some of these live stuff then. Oh, thank you, Moto UK, $9.99. Thank you very much. I love this. Is amazing how this all happens. Brilliant. Vodka or water, says Thumper 12222. Well, actually, it's vodka. It's water, of course. Gin is my thing. If it was anything, it wouldn't be vodka, it'd be gin. But that is water this time, sadly. Hello from Northampton. Colours are fine, says Brian. Thank you, Brian. Palantir135. Hello, great to hear from you. Can you do test rides of second-hand bikes with pros and cons? Well, I get asked this a lot, and I'm sure I've answered this before, but a quick answer. And this is part of the reason why I'm now doing this Readers Rides series, because I do want to cover older bikes and second-hand bikes. I'm aware that not everybody's in the market for new bikes. The trouble is, test riding second-hand bikes is logistically difficult. Number one, it's very hard to go to, say, a dealer and say, can I ride a second-hand bike to do a YouTube video? Some will no doubt do it for me, but generally speaking, they're quite hard to do. Or you need to get somebody to lend you a bike, so then there's all the logistics around that. So I'm aiming to do more of those. I did do a Reader's Rides video, I don't know if you saw that, but I did one about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it got kind of mixed results. I enjoyed doing it. It was a great video to make, and it was really nice to look at the bike and so on. I've got a few more lined up. In fact, I'm recording one tomorrow. I've got Steve coming over tomorrow with his bike. I won't tell you what it is, hopefully weather permitting anyway. Hello Steve, if you're watching. See you tomorrow. So we're doing that one, then I've got another one on Saturday lined up, and I've got a few more in the pipeline. And I'm hoping that's going to sort of scratch that need for doing second-hand bikes, because I think that's a good way of getting real-world bikes into the man cave, doing a sort of a review, but also learning from the actual owner how they've got on with the bike. So I'm hoping that's going to be the way to get around that, and I'm hoping that's going to be quite interesting, because it's sort of in my mind, chatting about somebody's motorbike in my garage, just having a general mardle about it, I think is sort of tantamount to going to like your local bike meet and just spending an evening chatting to others about motorcycles. It's just, we all like talking about bikes, don't we? That's why we're here. So I think that format potentially can work quite well. We'll see how it goes anyway. As I say, I've got a few lined up. I'll get those posted. We'll see what comments I get and what the viewing figures are like. If they do okay, I'll do more. If they don't, I won't. And on the subject of Reader's Rides, actually, thank you very much indeed if you've sent me a mail nominating yourself and your bike to be on that series. It's very, very kind of you. I did a bit of a shout out possibly on this last live video for those, and I got 20 or 30 people volunteering, which was very, very kind. So I had to prioritise those quite heavily, and the way I'm prioritising them basically, and this may be right or wrong, but I'm doing it on proximity. So if you're closer, I'll do those first because they're easier to get you in, and what your availability is like as well. I'm available pretty much all the time, but I'm planned out well in advance. So we need to plan slots in to get your bike in. If you can only do weekends, then that's going to be a bit more tricky. And if you're based in Scotland, clearly it's going to be hard to get your bike here, or me to meet you halfway or whatever. So many thanks again for all those nominations. If I've not written back to you, I have got your mail. Don't worry, I've got them all stored in a list. I am working through them. I will come back to you at some point. What I would say, if you want to nominate your bike, in the future, others that haven't nominated their bike think it would be good to be on Reader's Rides, then do send me a mail to the missendenflyer@gmail.com, together with the bike that you've got, whereabouts you live, so I get an idea of distance, and your phone number, because it's just much easier for me to give you a ring, and then we can sort out logistics. So that's what I need from. If you want to nominate your bike, email me at missendenflyer@gmail.com. It's in the little banner that runs down the bottom, let's get that set up. The other thing is, because I am working quite a way in front, it may well be a while before I phone you. I've got a number of people I said I'll give you a ring, and sadly I may not be ringing you till we're September now. It might be end of October, November before I get around to ringing you. So I know that seems very slack, but there's a lot going on here at TMF Towers. Okay, back to the live stream. What have we got coming in? Nearly retired, you need a secretary. Don't I just? Yes, indeed. I like the way you're thinking, nearly retired. Good one. You were thinking for the admin. All right, fair enough. What else we got? Fozzie, Well GSA, Duncan GS. Great. I'm not sure. I'll work that out when I read the comments later. What do you think of the Ducati 939 SP, says Ian Holmes. I don't know much about it, to be brutally honest, Ian. Can't really answer that. Generally, I like Ducatis. Some are better than others. I'm a Panigale fan, obviously. Don't know much about the 939 SP, though, so can't really give you a proper answer on that, sorry. Hi, JJ. Good to see you. How long do you plan on keeping your GS for? Well, as long as I, will be touring, or if it goes badly wrong or something. I love my GS. As I say, it's as I mentioned earlier, I bought mine in back end of 2014. It's a 2015 model year, but the start of that year, so it's only 4 years old. Why would you replace something that's perfectly functional? I think the newer bikes, yes, they're better than my one. They're a slightly smoother engine, etc. But they're not that much better. They're certainly not worth the depreciation hit that I would have. So yeah, I've got no plans to replace it. I love my GS. I've done stuff to it that I'd only have to do to a new bike. It would cost me a fortune to replace it. While it's running, I just keep looking after it. And if it's still running in 15, 20 years' time, I'll still be on that same GS. That's basically the way I look at these things. I do lots of research before I buy a bike or a vehicle. I'll make sure I get something that I think is the absolute best in its class, and then I absolutely sap the value out of it. So all the bikes I've got at the moment, no plans to change them. They keep running. I'll probably keep them all forever. I'm more of a collector than a swapper. I know some people like to get new bikes all the time and keep up with technology. I'm not the sort of person that has to have the latest, greatest thing. I just love motorcycles, and happy with the ones I've got, I'm glad to say. What else we got? JLo stuff. Still go green laning when you got challenged by that no all in a 4x4? Well, yes, I do. Well, certainly I've got the desire. But I don't do it as much as I'd like to. Around here there aren't many green lanes, and I've basically exhausted them all. The next nearest batch of green lanes for me will be down on Salisbury Plain, which is a bit of a ride away, an hour or two's ride from here. So what I don't need to do is take some spare fuel or plan it. It's a day out basically to do those green lanes, but there's loads down there. I do want to do them. So yeah, I will, once I get the CRF back from the Husqvarna lair, where it's currently hidden under a blanket somewhere amongst loads of huskies, then well, that's the wrong time of year now, because a lot of the green lanes locally get closed in the winter. But yeah, I'd love to do some more green laning. Certainly going to do some more off-roading. More about that soon, but not necessarily here in Blighty. So a little hint of what might be coming up. Scottish girl biker, sat nav or smartphone? Well, Smartphones, actually, if you haven't got a sat-nav on your bike already, smartphone's probably the way to go. I love TomTom. I use that even in my car. My cars have built-in sat-navs. I still use TomTom on my phone instead. Why not use the one on your phone if you haven't already got one? Why buy a specialist one? For me, I've got the BMW sat-nav on my GS. I got that because it's well integrated with the bike. It's not just a sat-nav, but it's like a bike information system, all controlled with a little whiz wheel on the handlebar. On the BMW, I make an exception. In fact, many BMWs have that same integrated GPS feature. It's a brilliant feature, and one of the reasons why I went for the GS over other adventure bikes. So I go with the sat-nav on that. But other bikes, or starting again, I'll probably just go with the sat-nav on my phone. Okay, let me go back to one more of the previous question. Let me just check the time. Oh, half an hour's gone. If it's all right with you, I can see we've still got plenty of comments coming in, and I've got, it says here, 768 people watching. Unbelievable. From all around the world. Unbelievable. So thank you very much indeed for watching. If you want to keep me on, then I'm happy to keep on for another quarter of an hour or so. Let's see how we go. But let me just do another one of these questions here, or I'll never get through them. So this one is from somebody with the catchy name of CJSLRO99. Hello, CJSLRO99. Thank you for your question. Looking to buy a GS, another GS question, by September. Oops, this is probably an oldish question. Test rode a new GS, and the advances in technology from the older model are exponential. Sadly, so is the price. Are all the changes worth the thousands difference? Well, I think I answered that one already, didn't I? Personally, I don't think they are. Depends if where you are, I guess, financially. If money's no object to you, if you're Elon Musk, go ahead and buy the next best one. But if not, then I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that all the changes are worth the extra thousands. Personally, they're great bikes. If you've not got one, yeah, buy a new one. But if you've already got one, my view is stick with what you got. That was a quicker answer. Back to the live stream. What do we got? Okay, we've got Stephen Dodd, Steve from Bolton. I did the ride you recommend, Johnny Stern Pass in the Lakes. Oh, Coniston Pass, I imagine you're saying. It was fantastic. Excellent. Great one, Stephen. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I rather enjoyed that too. Looking forward to going back to the lakes. There's some great rides up there. Jimmy McDonald, woohoo. Love you. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm quite sure how to take that, but thank you anyway. I'll take in the love. Got Coronation Street on pause, says Paul. Speak as long as you like. Thank you. Gosh, competing with Corrie. Whatever next. No worries, says new camshaft engine looks good. Yes, I agree. It does. I mean, it's amazing technology, isn't it? And I saw on Facebook earlier, Michael Neves, my favourite MCN reporter, did a little live stream from the launch yesterday. And he said he'd been riding it, and basically you can't tell when the cams change. If, in case you don't know, the new bike has this has a camshaft with two sets of different profile cams on it, some high lift ones and some low lift ones. And basically the bike, very cleverly, depending on the load you apply on the throttle, moves the camshaft across and employs the high lift cams when you're going at more. I assume it's high lift cams. Don't know, I might have that the wrong way around. But anyway, it's a seamless change between the valve timing openings. So it's a bit like the old what you used to have on the VFR. What do they call it now? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It'll come to me in a minute, or somebody will tell me. But it's stepless. There's no sudden shift as the valve profiles change. You just get the result of it is you get more grunt at the bottom end and more speed at the top end. So who's not going to like that? The new bike's got more horsepower. I think it's now at 135 bhp as opposed to 125. It's got more torque as well. Great stuff. No one, more torque and more power is always a good thing, isn't it? But again, I have to say, on my GS, I've never ridden along on it thinking what this bike needs is more torque and more power. So, great that it's got it, but was it necessary? I assume BMW thought it was necessary to keep up with the likes of the competition from KTM and Ducati, but as a rider, it's probably not necessary, is it? Anyway, that's just my view. Right, what else we got? What mower do you have, says Carl Yomas. Thank you. That's a great question. It's I believe it's a Bosch. I'll check it out for you next time, but thanks. Tracer 900 GT was a bit meh, says the Children Turbo. Really? Did you go and ride that down at the Yamaha place at Wickham, I'm assuming? I really like that bike. I thought it was good. Why do I say it was a bit meh? There we go. Anyway, I'm sure I'll find out when I next see you. MF, any Harley rides in the future, says Dave. Well, none on the immediate future. My two options for Harley rides have sadly sort of evaporated. I won't get into any more detail, but I do still have some options open to me. I definitely want to ride a Harley. It will happen. I need to make contact with the local Harley dealer down at Abingdon is probably my nearest one, down at Blade there. I've got to contact a senior guy actually at Abingdon, contacted me and has basically said, if you want to ride in the bikes, just let me know. So I think I can probably go and do that again as ever. It's just a matter of making time to do it. So yeah, must do it. Stop clicking on it. Sorry, Andrew. I'll put it down there. Just a little It's an annoying habit, isn't it? I do apologise. VTEC, that's the one, Magic Ayrton Forever. That's the one, VTEC. So yeah, with the old VTEC engines in the Hondas, I understand you could feel there was a bit of a step change when the valve timing has changed. Not with the GS, apparently. It's seamless, you don't notice it, which is brilliant. What's your favourite bike, says Carl Yeomans. I think that's... I think I've answered that one. Well, all my 4 bikes are my favourites, but I suppose if I only ever had one bike, it would be the GS. I know that's sad. I know I'm old, but it is just such a good all-rounder. Okay, one more question from the list. Sorry, Andrew, I'm just going to click the pen again. One more question from the list here. Jacob Whittle, he says, if you're aware of it, have you heard anything regarding the possible 2019 Welsh Road Race? Well, the answer to that is no. I mean, I am aware of it. They were going to do it, weren't they, in Wales in 2018, and I was really looking forward to it. In fact, I had a few days booked off to go. There was going to be this Welsh Road Race in the middle. I think it was in the middle of Brecon Beacons or somewhere, on some sort of military ground, a closed ground. But anyway, it was going to be a road race that we could go to here in the UK. Sounded like a great idea to me. Was looking forward to it, and then it got cancelled at the last minute, which was a real shame. And then I did read somewhere that they were looking to put it on in 2019, but that's all I know, I'm afraid, Jacob. So yeah, let's hope it's on. If it is on, I'll see you there. Okay, quick swig of water. Right, okay, what have we got coming up then? Great vids, always look forward to them. Thank you, John, very kind. Thank you very much. Thanks for the kind comments. Another vote for more flying vids from Andrew. Brilliant, that's great. I love doing the flying vids. The problem with there's a couple of issues with the flying vids, although I love doing them. One, this is a motorbike channel, and I don't want to put people off by throwing loads of flying stuff in, but I got nothing but good comments. Oh, thank you very much, Sean. That's very kind of you indeed. Thank you, appreciated. I do love flying, obviously, and I love doing that flying vid, and it got nothing but good comments. I don't think I've got any negative comments on there. Doesn't do great in terms of views, but it doesn't do bad either, that one. So that was fine. So I thought, oh, I'll do some more of these. So one issue is, this is a biking channel. I don't want to dilute it too much with other stuff that I like doing, unless, you know, a lot of people say I should, in which case I will. So I'm thinking at the moment is I'll just sneak one in every now and then. And if you don't like flying stuff, just skip over that one, and the normal service will be resumed next time. So that's the one problem. The next thing is, flying is a funny old game for anyone that does it. And I know I've got quite a lot of pilots that watch the channel. You'll know, especially if you're a VFR pilot like me, which basically is a fair weather pilot, for want of a better term. The weather is always a factor, especially in England. This time of year, it gets a bit hit and miss whether you can fly. So, you book up an aeroplane, you get the day free, and then the weather's pants and you can't go. So there's a lot of planets that have to align to go flying in this country. So that's another thing. It's actually quite difficult to get flying. The other thing is, when I go flying, as you may have seen if you watched the last video, there's quite a lot going on. It's quite complicated. If you're doing that as well as trying to make a video, it adds to the complications. Now, that's not a big problem, because I've been flying for a lot longer than I've been riding bikes. In fact, I've been flying for 21 years now, I think, since I did my first solo. I feel completely relaxed in the cockpit. I don't have to think about the physical flying of the plane, I'm glad to say. A bit like, when you drive a car or ride a bike, once you do it enough, it becomes sort of muscle memory and you just do it. You don't have to think about it. But nonetheless, it is a serious game. You can't mess about when you're in an aeroplane, and filming a video as well is another distraction. If you had an issue on the plane, I'm just a bit conscious of things like wires and stuff getting tangled up on the yoke and throttle, so that's another thing. And the other thing is, I also quite like flying with other people, and I love taking people up to fly. If I take people up to fly, it makes it better value as well, by the way. If I'm taking people up to fly, I can't really be filming a video with somebody else in there, unless maybe it's another YouTuber. I'm still looking at you, Richie Vida. Then I could maybe do one, but it's just a bit complicated, I think, is the answer to that one. But I will try and do one. And then the other thing, the big elephant in the room, of course, is it costs an absolute fortune to fly. That video I did the other day, it was just a little half-an-hour flight down to the Isle of Wight and back. That flight cost me over 200 quid, and that these days, not working, I can't afford to do that very often, which is just a real shame, because it is one of my passions, as you've spotted. Anyway, I'll sneak the odd flying video in every now and then. Okay, what else have we got here then? Can you pick up some duty-free fags on your next flight, please? That was actually a hidden message. YouTube, very cleverly, if somebody sends something abusive in, which happens all the time, it automatically filters them out and doesn't put them on the public chat, so you don't see them. But I get to see them. So if you want to abuse me, feel free. I still see it. So, you'll have your time. It's just other people won't see it. Love all your stuff, TMFs. Thank you, Sean. Very kind of you. Ray D, do you have a day job? Well, I sort of do. It depends what you mean by day job. I don't have a conventional 9-to-5 job working for an employer. I own a business that I run, which makes half my income. Well, a bit more than that probably. And then I make a little bit of money from YouTube as well. So YouTube is a full-time pastime, absolutely. In fact, I spend more time doing stuff on my YouTube channel than I ever did for any full-time job. But it's not how I make my living. It helps, but I don't think, I've said this before, I don't think, particularly if you're in the motorcycle segment, you can make a living on YouTube. There's just not money in motorcycling in the UK to do that. Oh, thank you very much, Sean. Let's talk about money. Some pops in. Thank you. That's very kind. Want to see you and Mr. Vida in a plane soon? Well, unfortunately, it's going to be a bit more than $5, but we'll see what we can do. It won't be soon either. It'll have to be next year now, I guess, in the sunshine. But I have been in touch with Mr. Vida recently, by the way. I get a lot of people saying when you're going to do some joint vlogging and stuff. I've been trying to get me, Teapot One Bruce, and Lamb Chops Rice. Sorry, I was going to say your real name there. Lamb Chopsy together for some sort of a video. We've all been in a bit of a mail chat. We'll try and sort that out. Like everything, it's just getting all our diaries in sync. Everybody has day jobs except for me, and getting us all together in different parts of the country. What sort of video we do? But we all know each other now. They seem like a really nice bunch of chaps. It would be great to spend some time with them. So I'm trying to organise something. It might even just be a night out on the beers, and maybe we'll film a bit of that for those of you that are subscribed to all of them. You might find that of interest. I don't know, but the want is there for sure. Okay, what else have we got then? Don't forget the Baron, says Adrian. I've never met the Baron. I've never had any communications with him. Seems like a nice guy as well. I did meet Al Fagan recently. Again, another lovely fella. But unfortunately, I don't have any contact with Baron von Grumble. If I did, he could certainly come. What else have we got? Philip Cook, how about doing an old bike restoration project for your channel? Yes, talked about this before. Again, it's on the want list. I'd love to do that. I'm rubbish mechanically. It would be great fun to get an old bike, strip it down, clean it up, rebuild it, see if it still went. Great winter project. Would really love to do that. Getting time to do it again. I've got some thoughts about how the channel might change next year, and maybe in November's broadcast I'll tell you about that. So I'm definitely going to be making some changes to the way this all happens, because I haven't quite got the balance right yet. But there are a few things that seem to work, a few things that don't so much. There are a few things that always get good views, a few things that don't. I've now got a few of these little regular features that I'm coming up with. Things like my bike news seems to go down well. The MCN review I do. These live streams seem to go quite well. I mean, I've got 780 people still watching. Here we are, nearly 3/4 now since I started. I've had nearly 1,000 people watching this all around the world. Unbelievable. So this goes down quite well. And a few things like Reader's Rides, I'm hoping, maybe the odd flying video. So all these little things I can put together. The touring, of course, I like to do with my Friday tours. I really enjoy, what I have motorbikes for is to go see places. And that recent Arctic Circle tour I thoroughly enjoyed. Hopefully you're enjoying watching those episodes still. I've got another 6, I think, to go. So keep watching those on Fridays. And I would say this, wouldn't I? But you haven't seen the best yet. It's still to come. This next episode, this Friday coming, is a cracker. And then even the trip back down is amazing. Oh, thank you, Voltage NZ. Very, very generous of you. Thank you. Oh, just moved to the UK. Interesting. From New Zealand. Bad luck, mate. I think you should maybe staying there was a better idea from a biking point of view. I hope whatever job you got here is paying a lot more. But welcome to the UK, and thanks for making contact. And thanks very much for that top checked contribution. That'll be going straight back in the old in the fuel tank. So yeah, touring videos as well go down well. And yeah, do keep watching the Norway one, because that was just an amazing trip, as you've seen. I was so lucky with the weather, unlucky with my drone, lucky with the weather. Well, somebody asked if my drone, it was on Facebook I think, or Twitter earlier, asked if I fixed my drone. The answer is yes. Too late for Norway, unfortunately. What it turned out to be was, you may or may not know, but the drone's controlled with a controller. The controller has in it your phone. Your phone runs an application that talks to the controller, and you can see the output from the camera on the phone. Okay, but you connect the phone to the controller with a little USB type lead thing, with a lightning connector at one end. And that's all well and good. And unfortunately, that turned out to be the problem with my drone. I never got it fixed by DJI. I sent it back to them. It had to go back to Holland for a few days. They returned it, said, no fault with your drone, it's absolutely fine, which was very annoying. So using a very long process of elimination, I in the end worked out for myself that it was the lead. I didn't realise that you can actually... Sorry, I don't want to go down a drone rat hole here, but if you've got a drone, you might know what I'm talking about. There's another connection, another USB port I could have used with a standard lead, and I could have used it in Norway after all. Damn, if only I'd known about that. But anyway, I bought a new lead now. It's fully functional. I've been out this week testing it. I've done some local flying with it just to relearn how to fly the thing. So I'm ready for the drone for the next tour, hopefully. So that's back. Whoever asked that one. Norway vid's awesome, says David. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I really enjoyed making them, as you gathered. You have the perfect excuse to go back to Norway now. Dronage, exactly, Asian. If only I could afford it. That was an expensive one, I can tell you. Paul Williams, take Mr. Vida up. Loads of us would love that. Yeah, brilliant. Well, lots to take up everybody. That would be great. I love taking people up, particularly people that haven't been in a small plane before. It's always a real pleasure. I love taking up kids. Careful with that one. Just, seeing the joy on their face if they're not flown before. I love all that. So yeah, I absolutely would like to do that. It is, it is a pricey game. That's the issue. Shadow, what's saying? Enjoy your tour vids. I'm not sure you're enjoying the 12 days on the bike though. Plan the next one yourself. So extreme miles per day aren't necessary. Right. Sorry, I had to read that very quickly because it's about to shoot off my screen. Yeah, agreed. The thing is, on that Norway tour, the weather was so good and the bike was comfortable. Actually, the long days weren't that big of a deal and the scenery was so great. But in an ideal world, I would probably do a bit less miles than we did on some of those legs, mainly because then I could stop and take more pictures and do more dronage. For me, I found touring, I think between 200 and 300 miles a day is the optimum amount. It depends what sort of roads you're on, of course. If you're blatting and you're on motorways to get places, then you can probably do 400 or 500 miles quite easily. But I don't want to be on the bike more than probably 7 or 8 hours. 3 or 4 hours in the morning, 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon, and some breaks, and I'm done. So yeah, that's optimal for me. About 200 to 300 miles, particularly if you're on those twisty roads like you get in Scotland or Ireland or indeed Norway. You can be on the bike for 10 hours and still only do 100 miles. So you've got to factor that in. But there we go. What else we got? GS or RT or RS? Love the show, says Frank Mortimer. Thank you, Frank. Well, I have to say GS, don't I, at the moment. But I also, it's very close on the RT, and I love the RS. The RS is a slightly different kettle of fish, but a lovely bike. I need to ride one of those again, see if those vibes have gone. Hang on, I think, no, that's the XR I'm confusing it with. Sorry. I like the RS as well. But probably not on my radar, the RS. To be honest, the RT I like very much riding. That was brilliant. I don't know if you saw my review of that. Need to ride the new one, of course. Trouble is with the RT now, is it just me or is the front end really bulbous on that? I just think it's starting to look a bit comedic, and I'm not too sure that I like the look of the RT anymore. Don't know, but they certainly ride really nicely. And if I wasn't going to do any off-roading ever on my GS, which in reality I'm not, I'll do it on other people's GSs, then the RT is the way to go, isn't it? How much heat comes off the Multistrada, says Eric. Can't remember, but my experience with Ducatis is they generally run warm. My goodness me, my Panigale certainly cooks your bits. So I imagine quite a bit of heat comes off. If I remember right, it was a while back since I had the Multistrada, it was a bit warm. In the UK, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're in a hot country and in the summer, then it can be. Although, of course, you can always go to my friends at panagalespaces.com, and they do a heat kit. I think they might well do one for the Multistrada as well. Anyway, check out my links below my videos where I list my sponsor links and stuff. I think there might be a discount code as well for the heat reduction kit. Check that out. Anyway, okay, what are we doing for time? Crikey, we better wrap this up in 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, because I will have been on for an hour then. Although I can see we've still got 766 people. If that's still the same people, thank you so much for watching for so long. Unbelievable that you'll give me an hour of your time. Thank you. Right, let me do one more of these questions from last time, then we'll come back to a few more questions on the live chat. What have we got? Ellie... Well, I'm not sure how you pronounce this. Neve, Nehme. Ellie Namer, something like that. Hi, mate. Is it a good idea to buy the Kawasaki... Let's put the pen down, otherwise I'm going to get told off by Andrew again. Hi, mate. Is it a good idea to buy the Kawasaki Z1000SX instead of the Duke 790 and put it on the low mode for the first few months and then have it on full power, so I'm buying one bike instead of upgrading to 2 bikes consecutively? Looking forward to your answer and anything you have to say concerning this and anything else. Great question, actually. And one that comes up every now and then, which is why I pulled this one out. So basically, it sounds like Ellie or Eli is a new rider and doesn't want to. My recommendation normally when people ask me what bike should I get as first big bike, I usually say buy a second-hand 600cc, learn your craft for a few months, you'll get fed up with it, sell it, you won't lose much money if it was second-hand, then buy the bike you want. That's what I should have done. I didn't do that, but take it from me, that's the way to go, is my usual advice, and that advice stands true here. The trouble is, Eli, if you buy the Kawasaki Z1000 first off and you stick it in the low power mode, you may be a better person than me, but there's no way you're going to leave it in low power mode until you feel like you're going to put it in the full power mode at some point. And even in the low power mode, the Z1000SX is a very powerful motorcycle. If you're new to biking, you're going to come off and you're going to hurt yourself, is my view. Certainly, if it was me, I would have come off and hurt myself, put it that way. I've been lucky enough to ride lots of powerful bikes, and there's no way as a new rider I would have had any right to be on them. It always amazes me how in the US the bike licensing is such that when you pass your test, you can go and get any bike you want. Here in the UK, it's a much tougher regime. If you're a youngster, at least, under 24, I think it is, you have to work your way up through sorts of actually a ridiculous amount of levels of powers before you can ride a full power bike. But that is there for a good reason, and it's not just youngsters. It's inexperienced riders on very powerful bikes. So I'm afraid, Eli, it's probably not the answer that you wanted to hear. But I wouldn't go for the Kawasaki Z1000SX. Indeed, I wouldn't go for the Duke 790 either as a first bike. That's also a pretty meaty bike. You want to go for something that's got low horsepower, I'd say. Something in the region of, when I say low, 50 or 60 horsepower. It's ample for the road. Something like one of the Triumph Bonnevilles may not be your style of bike, but those sorts of bikes. Or even the Duke 390, I would say, would be a better bike. Much lighter. You're not going to get intimidated by it. You'll learn your craft. You'll have a lot of fun. But buy a second-hand one, then you won't get hit by depreciation. Sorry, Andrew, I just clipped your pen again. Right, let's just cross Eli's question out. Okay, let's get back to the live stream. Running out of water. Right, Bandit Man, nothing wrong with power apart from fuel consumption. Well, yeah, I'm not saying there is anything wrong with power. We all love power, don't we? And you're right, the fuel consumption can be a problem. And I know in your case, you got that MT10, which is particularly thirsty. So I feel your pain there. But as a new rider, you wouldn't recommend, surely, a new rider gets an MT10, for example. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. What have we got here? In Switzerland, over 25, you can ride any bike on a provisional, says Frank. That's unbelievable, on a provisional licence. So you can go out and basically fill out a form and then ride any bike. Unbelievable. That is incredible. George Watt says, wet next trip to. I think that means where you're going next on your next trip. Well, I've got a few plans for next year. Nothing firm yet, but I definitely want to do the Wild Atlantic Way in Ireland. That's one for sure. Quite like to do an Alpine trip. I have been down there, but I've not done videos before. I'd like to do that. I've never done the Picos in Spain. Another one potential. But between now and then, I've got some other little trips coming up, sort of mini tours, if you like. I won't say any more about them for now, but I've got a couple coming up in October. You'll definitely be seeing those on the channel, and they're down. One in Spain, one back in the Canary Islands with my friends at Canary Motorcycle Tours. Going to go over to. Well, I said I wasn't saying anything about it. Now I'm blowing it all. Hopefully going down and meeting up with those guys again. Hello to you guys if you're watching. Can't wait to get down there. Bit of sunshine in the winter. It's always good. And hopefully this time we're going to actually do a bit of island hopping and get across to Tenerife and go up Mount Tidy. So that's one that's happening. Fingers crossed, fairly soon. And I'm going to see my friend Lyndon down at Toro Tours again, or Toro Adventure, I should say. And we're going to do a bit of riding with Lyndon again, a bit more off-road on the GS, which I can't wait for. And we're also going to do a little ride out, I hope. And again, hopefully I'm not talking out of turn here, because this is the plan. It's not happened yet, obviously. I'm hoping to do a little day ride with Lyndon to Gibraltar, because he's never been there before. Apparently, it's a bit like Reading on the Med. It's nothing special, no disrespect if you live in Gibraltar, but I've always fancied going there. And there's some interesting bits and pieces militarily on the island, which I want to see. So going to do that as well. So some mini tours planned. And hopefully might get some decent weather in the winter, and then next year some bigger tours, and I'm hoping I might get some more exotic stuff as well. It depends on the money and what happens really, but we'll see. Okay, back to the live stream. Donna Randall, new biker, what should I get? I'm only 5'4". Well, it depends what you're into, Donna, and what you're going to use the bike for. It's different if you're going to be commuting, if you're using it just for fun, or whether it's your primary mode of transport. So give me a bit more information. Maybe stick me a question down underneath the recording of this with a bit more detail, or try again if I see it on the live stream. Depends what you're doing. James says get a cruiser. You could do. Basically, the general rule is you want to start out with, get something that's not too heavy. If you are vertically challenged, it sounds like you might be a bit. Get something that's not very heavy. You don't want to drop a bike. That's going to kill your confidence. Get something that's not too powerful to start with. And there's all sorts of fun bikes in that category. Things like the Duke 390, or indeed a cruiser, and loads of others as well, or things like my CRF, stuff like that you can ride. Well, the CRF would be a bit tall. But it depends what you want it for, so let me know. What else we got? No worries, says stabilisers. Some good hairpins in jib, apparently, says Wander Down Dave. Excellent. SV650 for the lass. Yeah, good one, Shadowed. Yeah, the SV650. If you didn't see my reviews, I had one relatively recently, or through the summer. I've got a few reviews on the channel on the SV650. Check that out. That is an excellent first bike. That's the sort of thing I mean to go for. That's relatively light. Great fun. Nice looking little bike as well. Goes really well. Yeah, check that one out. I can't remember, sorry, I've forgotten what her name was. Donna, I think it was. Donna, yes, there we go, thank you. What else have we got here? Somebody else saying the SV650, Fred, yeah, I agree. Bless all 5'4" people, says Barry. Yep. All right, what else have we got then? Ever fancied riding to the Balkans, says Paul. Yes, indeed I have. I also fancy Croatia and all that game as well. There's loads of Europe I haven't done yet. I also want to do that. The one in Germany, is it the S500? Anyway, the sort of Black Forest Road. That's another must do. Must do that. So yeah, loads of options there. I will not be running out of tour material next year. Don't worry about that. All right, let me do another question from here. How are we doing from time? Right, one more question from here. Then we'll get on to parish notices. I'll try and do a few more stream as well. Dan Keller 69. Any progress on Operation Aprilia? And when are you doing an Aussie friendly live time slot? Thank you, Dan Keller. Well, I did do an Aussie friendly live time slot a while back. Oh, what's happened here? Hey, disappeared there for a moment. Hopefully you can still hear me. The technology's gone a bit dodgy. Hopefully you can still hear me. We'll see how it goes. So it's probably a little hint that I should wrap up soon if the technology is playing up. So yeah, Operation Aprilia. Yeah, that's still ongoing. I will be riding Aprilia soon. Don't worry about that. That's almost guaranteed. I'll come back to some other questions next time. It looks like the technology's going a bit iffy. Probably my kids have started watching Love Island or whatever's on at the moment. So I'll probably need to wrap up. Let me give you some parish notices before we go. There are a couple of things that I wanted to say. First off, next live stream, make a note, planned for Wednesday, October the 17th, same time actually, 8 p.m. UK time. This seems to work quite well. I've still got 763 people watching. It seems to work for the most number of people, so that's good. And apologies to those in Australia. I will, at some point, I'll do another Aussie-friendly one. But in the meantime, watch the recording, leave me comments below. I'll try and pick them up for the next live stream, so apologies for that. And indeed, anywhere else around the world that you're watching from where this isn't a particularly good time. There's no good time that works for the whole world, obviously. Well, I mentioned Reader's Rise. Thanks for everybody who got in touch with me about that. Well, must just say thank you to Custom Fit Guards. You see their little logo down, is it down? No, the other side, down there somewhere. They're the people that make these earplugs that you will have seen me wearing on the Norway tour. I ride with these all the time in my GSF. I'm very comfortable. They are custom made. They're brilliant. More about those in a future video. I've already done a review on these actually, so about how they're made. Now you get them moulded, so go and check them out. Customfitguards.co.uk. They do sponsor this video and Bike News, so many thanks to those guys for doing that. Check out their website. If they say you've been there from here, then they might continue sponsoring me. That would be good. What else? Last month I said that if you're a fan of the South African show, The Bike Show, I might have some good news for you. Well, I haven't got the news for you yet, so sorry about that if you're waiting for that. I'm a fan of that show. Hopefully, next live stream, I can tell you a bit more about that. So that's just a little teaser for you. On the subject of sponsors, I mentioned the earplugs thing. I'm always looking for new sponsors. If you have a company or you know of people that may be willing to sponsor the Missenden Flyer channel, do put them in touch with me. Email below, missendenflyer@gmail.com. Unbelievably cheap. You would not believe how little I charge in order for you to access 35,000 viewers a day. That's how many views I get a day on average. And I think about 24 million views in total now. And 90,000 subscribers I've just passed, which I'm pleased about that. But anyway, so yeah, if you know of anyone, let me know. And then just some things that are coming up in the next month. Obviously, loads more of the Arctic Circle stuff. Every Friday they go up, if you haven't worked that out. I think there's another 6 episodes to come. So we're only halfway through, believe it or not. Lots of good stuff coming, not just in Norway either. Some interesting historical stuff coming up. So do stay watching that. More Readers' Rides, as I mentioned, a few of those lined up. Keep your nominations coming in. Apologies if I don't get back to you really, really quickly. I do store them all. I'll come back to you eventually. It might be months, but I will come back. Don't forget, send me your location and your phone number so I can give you a call. I've got some more kit reviews coming up. I've got the video on the Yamaha SCR 950, which is a sort of a cruiser custom-y type bike, which sort of was a bit under the radar for me, so I've got a review on that coming up, so watch that. I've got that 6-year ownership review I mentioned on my Street Triple. That's coming up too. That was fun to do. Of course, I've got my monthly bike news coming up, so the review of MCN, that'll be on the September the 26th. I'll try and alternate that on the sort of middle. Now, this is on the middle Wednesday of the month. The bike news is on the last Wednesday of the month, if you haven't worked that out. That's how I try and space them, because it's a similar sort of format where I get to talk to you. So I'll try and do those every 2 weeks. There's a chance for me to feed back to you sort of in real time, as it were. Of course, loads more good old-fashioned vloggage and much, much more besides, I'm sure. So that's pretty much it. I'll just have a last look at the live chat and then we'll sign off, because I would have been on for nearly an hour. What have we got? Ian, cheerio to you. Thanks for coming again. Chilton's Turbo's going to watch the local Grand Designs. Oh, is there one on? I must go and watch that. Hello from Bicester, says Donna. Hello. And everybody's saying cheerio. So on that basis then, I'll just put that little thing there over there. No, it won't. It will go there. Sorry, there's lots of technical things going on. Thanks again for watching. We've been on for an hour, which is incredible that happens. It's amazing that you come on from all over the world. Thank you for that. Do watch out for the next one. The date of that one again was Wednesday, October the 17th. Make a note in your diary or on your phone. It'd be great to have you along. Thanks for sticking with me so long on this one, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.